Well, hello and welcome to Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy. I am Sandy Sanders. I am your host and creator of the Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy platform. Our platform is a weekly talking segment where we have invited guests, anthology book projects, authors, and solo projects. And most of all, I say that it is for you. Why do I say that? Because you just might be looking for a good book to read. Well, tonight we are super excited to have you here on our platform and to be with us in our audience. You may be listening to us on our YouTube channel. You may be listening to us on our Facebook platform, as well as the CTR Media Network, where we are a part of. The CTR Media Network heard in over 350 million viewers worldwide, as well as over 100 countries globally. And I am super excited to be here with you on this evening and to have the phenomenal, in this trilogy, she is a 3-time best-selling author. We are talking about the phenomenal, Dr. Shana D. Lewis. Not only is she with us on tonight, but she has the contributing authors of the volume 3 of When Destiny Needs an Intervention. This is the volume 3, along with, the 6th time, and we call her a 6-time 6-figure anthology strategist, the phenomenal, you know her, global speaker, anthology, she's an anthology visionary as well as solo book projects, and it is the phenomenal, Crystal Cunningham. I'm ready to call her doctor for sure. But listen, I want you to get this, share it out. I want you to stay with me, share it out. And without further ado, I am going to step away and welcome these fabulous, fabulous women. Yes, indeed. And hello and welcome to Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy. Congratulations. You just hit the #1 bestseller on today. Did I get that right? I want to make sure that you can go ahead and take your mutes off for sure.
Yes. Congratulations.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And listen, I got a little something for you guys. Just hang on here with me. And this is just my way of celebrating you. I want to share my screen with you now. And listen, there it is. There's your fireworks. This is for you.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
That is for you. If I could just say thank you, and we congratulate you. Yes, indeed. It wasn't all what I wanted it to be, but just so that you know, wanted to put the fireworks out there for you, fireworks and all. Well, as I mentioned, is that we have the individuals, these phenomenal women that are part of the When Destiny Needs an Intervention. This is the volume 2. And Dr. Shana D. Lewis, volume 3, Dr. Shana D. Lewis is the visionary author, and who is with her in her state. She will be with us a little bit later. Listen, I always tell our audience, I want you all to share this out. I need you to tag at least 5 people. And listen, go ahead and do that while I begin to share my screen here. And then when we come back, we're going to have a word of prayer, and then we will actually get started. But this amazing When Destiny Needs an Intervention, Volume 3, is the finale or the final of the trilogy series. There's a volume 1, volume 2. And I'm telling you, we're just going to have a fabulous conversation, but I want to share my screen here briefly. And there she is. There it is. These women, they are stunning. Absolutely, absolutely stunning. Let's see, what can we say? There you are, beautiful ladies, each of you, and Dr. Shana herself. At this time, we're going to just have a moment of silence and a word of prayer. You all, my heart is very heavy on yesterday, because on yesterday, globally, those of you that are listening, and we have felt it here in the United States, a woman that was laid to rest. Her 4 boys will now be without their mother, all because of a tragedy of her defending her sons and knocking on a door. Senseless. You all know that gun violence is rampantly in our communities. And I just felt it yesterday whenever we learned it. And so if we can, just in honor of her, just letting other sisters know, listen, and just her family, I don't know. They may never, ever know of this. But if you have sons or you have children, those were her heartbeat. And she was trying to defend her children. And here her life was senselessly killed, tragically killed, unnecessarily. Son standing beside her. So let's just, Miss Owens, Chikia, no, I know may not be pronouncing her name correctly. But let's just take a second and a moment out of our world and just acknowledge a solitude and solidarity. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you all for doing that. It is where we do what we do here. It's more than just being on social media. We're on social media because it is a purpose. And when one hurts, we all hurt. When we celebrate, when one is making it and doing it, it is scriptural. We rejoice with others and we cry with others. We moan when others moan. And so we're mourning in our spirit, but we're thankful to be in the land of the living. I am Sandy Sanders. Thank you so much. And we have these phenomenal women. The book is called When Destiny Needs an Intervention. Dr. Shana D. Lewis and the 6-figure anthology strategist, the lady herself. Yes, Crystal Cunningham. Come on and say hello to us. Beautiful. I'm about ready to call you doctor, but come on.
Hi, Sandy. Hi, ladies. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited and thankful to be here with you. Oh, it's a pleasure and it's an honor. Thank you so much for having us
Yes.
in your space this evening. So thank you so much. Yes, this is volume 3, and they are Amazon bestsellers as of the other day. So we are super excited. I'm super excited to know that they have made it. Amazon bestsellers, volume 3.
Yes. 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 And we'll begin to talk about and unpack how Dr. Shana and you came together, how you got to this place. But tell our audience a little bit about who you are, why you are an author, you're a global speaker. I've got your website up here a little bit. I'm going to be showing because we want people to know who you are. But there's much to you. And so share with the audience a little bit about who you are.
Well, I'm Crystal Cunningham. I'm the CEO of Crystal Clear Communications and Consultant. I am known as the 6-figure anthology strategist to some, the story snatcher for others, and the other word we won't say, but they call me the story joker too. Okay, because I have to get those stories out. So one of the things that I do is I work mainly with the visionary authors, and I have a done for you service. So this is what I have had the honor to do with Dr. Shana D. Lewis for the last for her 3 anthologies. We've been together for the anthologies and her solo book. But yes, I've been able to produce and help her publish volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. I have all the books here, right here in front. So these are all of Dr. Shana's. This is the latest. This is, wait, which one?
Beautiful.
This is the latest right here, volume 3. These are volume 1 and 2. And actually, that's Rochelle. That's your book right there.
Yes.
So I've been able to publish all 3 of them. So we've gotten together to really help empower and also help women of color specifically, share their stories and bring their message to the marketplace. So one of the things I do is I help women get clear of their message so they can start building their brands and starting their online businesses through publishing and sharing their stories.
And it's been a match. It's been a beautiful, beautiful match. If anyone has ever, the audience, if you've ever not had the opportunity to work with Crystal and she's a minister of the gospel and just powerful, powerful woman. And she operates out of the spirit of the living God and spirit of excellence. And so if you've not worked with her and you watch this journey, you'll begin to see how you've produced excellence. And so the pictures are real, y'all. That kind of atmosphere is the real deal. And the fact that it is not fake, it is genuine. You feel the love. I had the experience of being in Houston with them on last year. Was it last year?
Yeah, last year.
I know, I was looking at that. I was like, oh my God, it's been a year. So we can have this love conversation going on for quite some time. But listen, we're going to let you beautiful ladies. I love it when Crystal and I can get together and talk. Yes. We have a kudos and good evening, beautiful queens. Yes, from Lady Tracie L. Yes, and she says hello. Swag Her Magazine, which is one of our sponsors, they're in the house and they're saying share, like, and they want all of you in the audience in Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you're watching. Listen, go ahead and share it out because you don't want to miss this conversation. At this time, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the phenomenal Rochelle D. Jacobs. Come on, queen. Yes, see, I got you. If you will, come on and say hello to us. And the bottom of the screen, each of you all will see that we have these, the Meet the Authors. So that's what you're going to be doing now, is meeting the authors. If you will, come on and say hello to us.
Hello, beloved audiences and beloved Sandy and all of my Destiny Diamonds. It's good to see. Didn't I just see y'all?
Yes, indeed. Yes. Well, thank you so much. Yes, you did just see everybody, I'm sure. Yes, and yeah. And without further ado, if y'all let me, I'm going to go round robin, but I want to acknowledge, because I know that this lady, how important this lady is, and so I recognize and I see you, Lady Patricia Berry-Jones. Yes, Cindy, y'all. She's got a chapter in volume 2. When I came into the picture, volume 2 is I came in volume 2, not volume 1. But I'm telling you, come on and say hello to us, beautiful. How you doing? You got your mute on?
I was trying to unmute myself, Sandy. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for having us here tonight. I am absolutely elated to be here. I am Patricia Berry-Jones, and I'm just so excited to be here. Thank you.
You are so welcome. We'll talk about your chapter in that one, and I want you to let the folks know what you did in chapter 2. She came back around, Rochelle, in chapter 1 and chapter 2, and we all just like, huh? Yes, indeed. And we're going to go back into the top. Yes, Lady Chantal Gaines, if you will, come in and say hello and welcome to Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy.
Thank you so much, Sandy, for having us. My name is Chantal Cotton Gaines, and my chapter is Healing in the Womb. I am so happy to be here and celebrating this anthology with you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here with us. Looking forward to what you have to share. And we have Alana. I'm not going to try to say your last name because I don't want to mess it up.
That's okay. It's okay, Sandy. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy, for having us again. My name is Alana Bonhomme. The title of my chapter is The Fight of My Life, and it is truly an honor to be here with you. So thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Indeed, indeed. And we're going to Mona Lisa Jennings. Come on and say hello to us.
Good evening, Sandy. Thank you so much. I'm grateful to be here with you. My name is Mona Lisa Jennings, and my story in the Destiny vision is Grief to Grace.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to you sharing more about how you had the courage to print and write out what you had to say.
Yes,
All right.
ma'am.
Awesome. 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 Leontine, come on and say hi to us.
Good afternoon, everybody, or good evening, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Sandy, for having us here this evening. My name is Leontine Synor, and my chapter is Mismanaging My Money.
Okay. All right. Yes, indeed. And Tracie.
Hi, Sandy. Thank you so much.
Hi.
I am so excited to be here with you. I am Tracie L. James, and the title of my chapter is Coming Out.
Okay, awesome. And we have Lady T.L. James. Come on and say hello to us.
Thank you so much for having me. This is I don't want to say the end of the whirlwind, but this is another high from a wonderful weekend that I had to share with these ladies. So this is like the cherry on top. Thank you so much. I am T.L. James, and my chapter is Getting Clear of the Clutter.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, that's what happens when you're in this kind of atmosphere. So you all had the phenomenal weekend, the official book launch. And is this the first time you all got together? So it's not the first time that you got together. So Crystal, come on and paint the picture. Share with us. First, I want to say, okay, so we're going to get into the book. But I really, really want our audience to know the power of your gift, of what you do with anthologies. So let's home in on that, and then we'll go from there. I'm going to look at, I think I got a couple of people that's trying to get in. But yeah, come on and just let us know, why anthologies?
Well, that's a great question. The reason why I have anthologies, because I was assigned to this project, I was assigned to this space.
Mhm.
God gave it to me because of the gap that was missing. There's a gap. There was a big gap. There is a big gap, and I'm trying to fill it right now with with helping the co-authors, to be very honest with you. So I got the assignment because of the process of that I was personally in the anthology prior. It wasn't as beneficial to the co-authors. One of the things that the co-authors, and I was just talking about this earlier actually with an aspiring visionary author, is, you know, when you're coming into the anthologies as the co-authors, one of the things that is where the real big gap is, once the book launch is done, it's like, now what? What do you do with the book afterwards? So that's why I got the assignment, how to help them continue on moving their message and taking it in the marketplace and making it into more. So in this anthology and all the other anthologies that I work with too, is I help them not only create their book, but create their message and a digital product. So they not only have a book, but they get courses to go along with it to start their online business. So I got this because of that gap, you know, specifically for that co-authors, as well as helping the visionary authors know how to really package the offer and make it of value, and they're customized. So anytime I work with anthologies, you know, women that are wanting to host their own anthology, I help them customize it based around their message and the movement that they're trying to start and the problem that they are solving for their particular target audience. So that's how I got it. And I absolutely love doing it now, because I have to be honest, At first, I was like, this is not really what I want to do. But
Right.
you know, one of the things I want to share with everyone here tonight, and just by saying that, sometimes God will give us an assignment. It might not be exactly what we want, but when we yield to it, believe it or not, we will turn to love it. And you'll start to discover this is my thing. And this is where my gift is matching up with what I'm being called to. So to see all of these women now and be able to help them extract their story, their signature stories, because we don't just do, me and Dr. Shana, one thing I love about partnering with her is we understand when you are coming out and writing your story, we're not just looking for any story. We're trying to help you discover your signature story to start building your brand and start building your business. So that's what I love about the process that I have.
Yeah. Let me see. I want to make sure I'm not on mute. No, I'm not. So, and because I was in the background and I was looking because, Crystal, what happens? You're feeling the pain, what they call the pain of us as authors. You know, we've had this conversation is that once the book is published, and we were seeing it, but prior to COVID, we were seeing books coming out, and then right after COVID, books were coming out, and then nothing negative to say about the visionary, but it's like you thought outside of the box. And outside of the box was you all, when I experienced someone putting a complete anthology in a documentary on the big screen, I was done. I was like, this is what y'all. I was sitting over there in the theater, and I was like, oh God, she bad. I was really saying this. I was like, who does that? But only God drops stuff in your mind, do that. And he knows who he can trust with that. And that's powerful. That is very powerful. Ladies, how did you feel seeing yourself on the screen? Anybody?
It was
absolutely amazing.
I was grateful.
It was surreal. It was amazing.
I was in awe. Just
Very
in awe.
exciting.
Okay, so I'm hearing in awe, I'm hearing amazing. You're sitting there and you're watching because we've watched the Halle Berrys, we've watched Nina Long, we've watched all of those other women that we can relate ourselves on screen. Then to see, I was like,
Sandy, I'm ready to go to Hollywood now.
yes, I was about to say, and she got a crown on, y'all.
Oh, yeah, and I'm gonna tell you about that when I tell
We're ready.
Yes, indeed. So you all, okay, and so she presents this red carpet experience. And so definitely you take it to another level. Well, those of you that are tuning in, thank you so much. Yes, you've seen it. You've seen we had the graphics out. This phenomenal group of women, yes, have just released again another #1 bestseller. These are best-selling authors, but not just that, but they're ready to go to the next level. It's not just to have the gold seal. And so before we begin to have our dialogue, and we'll talk about the birthing of this book and how important this is, I want to let you know is that we're going to hear from one of our sponsors. And yes, we've got some kudos. Tracie says, Crystal is amazing, and the grief of grace. And yeah, she said, I want to hear this word. So someone, yes, indeed. And then she says, unlike any other. And we want to thank Jacqueline for coming through. Yeah, such beauty and grace on this platform. Absolutely, absolutely, it is. Let's hear from one of our sponsors, Mr. Yes, and Dr. Jonathan Haynes. And yes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Jonathan Haynes, and I'm so excited to be a sponsor with Book Talks with Sandy Sanders. Listen, I'm with Jonathan Haynes Ministries, and I'm a singer, author, motivational speaker, podcaster, and the list goes on, but I'm offering my services to you. You can reach me by email at sbirdproductions56@gmail.com or my phone number at 228-346-1535. I'm looking forward to connecting with you, and let's get it in 2023. God bless you all.
Yes, indeed, y'all. That young man can sing. Y'all hear me? He has been with some recording artists, and so yes, he will travel. Okay, okay. At this time, we're going to go ahead and hear from these phenomenal, fabulous women. I'm gonna let Elena, go ahead and be our first speaker and share about her chapter. We have a couple of more that are going to come up. Crystal and I are going to step back, and after Alana, then it will be Chantal and then Rochelle, but we'll have a break in between. Okay. All
Okay.
right, ladies, take it away, Alana. Go ahead.
Okay. The title of my story is The Fight of My Life. And basically, how the story came to, and again, never did I ever imagine that I would be on this platform being able to tell my story, but knowing that it was a story that needed to be heard. Basically, I had a dream the same way for a week straight. And in the dream, God showed me where the person was narrating my death and basically said, how did she die? And they said from an aneurysm. So just on a whim, just going to the doctor and all of that, and not to get too much into the book, but basically what happened was it was discovered that my aorta was completely dissected, and right on top of it was an aneurysm. And apparently had been having it for 2 years and had no idea, had no symptoms or anything. The doctors were amazed that I was able to even still be walking around, talking or doing anything. So just in that, from that point to leading all the way up to me having to leave my marriage, and that was very toxic, and now having to become a single mother of 3 girls, move into a new state, and just having to start life all over again. It was hard. It was hard. And what happened was I didn't realize how much I had lost myself. And so I know I needed to tell this story basically because there are so many women out here who we lose ourselves. We show up, we put the mask on, we smile for the cameras, we smile for everybody, we show up for everybody but ourselves. And that's what happened. I had lost myself. And what happened was it affected me physically. But how I saw it was that God allowed me another chance. I kept all the years I was praying and asking God to help me get out of that situation, help me get to a space where I could be what I needed to be for my children and for myself. And when you pray and you ask God these things and he sends you ways, and we just kind of, it's not the way we think it's supposed to come, we just kind of turn the other cheek, or we just keep pushing through it, because nobody gets married to get divorced. So you want your marriage to work. You keep trying to hang in there. And I can hear the words of my grandmother saying, baby, do everything that you're supposed to do. That way, when you have to walk away, you don't have any regrets. And that's what ended up happening, is that I had to leave. Well, God positioned me where it was life or death. And I would always say in the marriage, I've given you everything but my life, and I'm not willing to give you that. And that's what I almost did. I was on my way to giving my life. And my children are the main reason, not just for myself, but my children. They needed a chance. They deserved a chance. And when my oldest daughter basically said that she wanted to die, she was so tired of it. And when we left that situation, she looked at me and she said, Mom, she said, I'm not trying to be funny. She said, but I feel free. And when she said that, it was like a light bulb came on, and I realized your children suffer, if not more than you. They suffer just as much. Mm-hmm. And I needed to get them out of that situation. I needed to get myself out of that situation. I had no longer, I lost who I was. I didn't recognize myself anymore. And through talking to other women and just sharing my story through regular conversation, I realized how many women walk around day after day after day, just putting on the mask, smiling through things, pushing through things. And we no longer take care of ourselves to the point to where physically you can't go anymore. And so after God allowed me another chance at life, I knew that I couldn't mess this up, and I needed to be able to share with others what I had gone through. And just through meeting Dr. Shana, I was actually just doing online church one Sunday. And she was at my church. She was at my church that Sunday speaking on mental health awareness. And I found my way on her calendar and went through her self-care program, her Me 2.0 program. And that allowed me to start thinking about me, putting me and realizing that I needed to put me first, because I can't pour from an empty cup. And that's what I was doing. My cup was it was bare. And I was just waking up and pushing and still trying to do it. And I had nothing else to give. So that allowed me the opportunity. I was blessed to be able to see Volume 2's launch. And they said it was done. But God spoke to Crystal and through her heart. And she made the announcement that there would be a Volume 3. And when she said that, I knew that God needed me to be able to share this story, because somebody needed to hear it.
Thank you, Alana. That touches me every time. I'll talk a little about my chapter now. Again, I'm Chantal Cotton Gaines, and my chapter is Healing in the Womb. It starts off with, Chantal, this was God's whisper. It's time to break those chains. The family trauma and burdens end with you. Lean into motherhood and let go of the struggles your family carries. I started my story off that way because I lost my father as a teenager. It was death by suicide. And my father was very important to me, had a very big impact in my life, made a lot of mistakes as well. But being a child and having to face that was very difficult. And I don't think I really spent any time addressing sort of that loss for years. So what made me have to address just the things that I had packed down from the loss of my father was when I became a mother myself. And I realized I didn't actually know how to connect that deep connection you need as a parent, particularly a mother. I didn't know how to do that. And so I went and sought help, went to a therapist, and little by little, I kept chipping away at it. And I realized that some of my struggles had to do with the fact that I hadn't addressed childhood trauma for about 20 years. I had moments where my little 2-year-old and I would be having conversations, and I would just feel this energy. And I'm like, what is all this energy that's pushing me and making me feel so frustrated? And I realized it was because it was a little boy and he was pushing back on me. And that stemmed some of the thoughts of what I saw my father, who was also an alcoholic and not always overly kind to my mother. I realized some of the defenses that I put up as a child were showing up for me as a mother, where I was feeling really disrespected by a little 2-year-old, as silly as that sounds. And so for me, that was my opportunity to really just start addressing how I want to show up as a person, as a professional woman that has really focused on academics, focused on high accomplishments. I realized that I didn't appreciate the role vulnerability had in my life, and that was a requirement essentially to really make those connections as a mother. And so my story talks a little bit about just when I became a mom in labor for 30 hours and then had an emergency C-section. That's what shook all of that up for me more formally and made me have to address those issues. So what's exciting for me in thinking about this is that telling this story is providing healing for my own family in terms of my father's siblings, and being able to think about how important it is to support someone that's struggling through something like addiction, how important it is for myself and my own siblings, my immediate family, and being able to get something out. Silence is not golden, as Rochelle D. Jacobs would say. It's important for us to actually tell the story and use that information so that we're not passing it to the next generation. In my story, I talk about breaking covenants that were made by prior generations, and what I feel God is calling upon me by having to tell this story is saying it's not meant for me to take all of the struggles that my father carried and that I actually carried for a while and to pass that to my children, that it stops with me. And what's most impactful about that is that I'm learning I actually have the power to do that. I think for so many of us, we see these problems in our family over time, and we just feel like it's almost inevitable, like we're going to have those struggles too. But in reality, we can do something about it. And so in my story, I spend a lot of time talking about just that. Like, what does breaking that covenant look like? And how do I embrace vulnerability as one of the ways that I do that? And the other way is also healing myself. So my children see me as a work in progress. My husband sees me as a work in progress, but really important for our collective healing and moving forward. And this anthology project allowed me the opportunity to share the story in community with other women of color, where I knew that it would be received with respect and be received in a place where I would be loved and supported along the way.
Good evening, beloveds.
Thank you.
I am Rochelle D. Jacobs, your destiny interventionist. Amazon's 1, 2, 3 times bestseller. And I have a question. When does destiny need an intervention?
Right now.
It's a sneaky situation. How did I end up here with this STD, this sugary transmitted disease? That was volume 1, For the Love of Sugar. And then in volume 2, I never knew the weight until I felt the freedom, where I had to free myself from PMS, painful money struggles. Because listen, I was under a threat. Like they say, Houston, we have a problem. I had a triple threat of a problem: pink slips, payday loans, and pawn shops. And so here we are in volume 3. That was volume 2, For the Love of Money. So here I find myself in volume 3, For the Love of Brokenness. And I came across a quote, as I was finishing up this final destination of when destiny needed an intervention. I could not meet God in my revival until I met him in my brokenness. And my story, ladies, is it's summertime. We all, it's summertime right now. We all love summertime. And so imagine a 12-year-old Rochelle. And I'm excited because, listen, I get to spend the summer with my best friend doing all the things that 12-year-old girls do. And for me, that was heaven. And so, because I was, my home life was one of dysfunction. It was very traumatic, growing up watching your mom being beaten by her boyfriend, not having lights, not having food to eat all the time. And so, within that, trauma created a change that I did not choose. But in my brokenness, I realized that I need healing, or I needed healing, because healing is what I can choose. And so just thinking back as I was writing the story For the Love of Brokenness, it should have been volume 1. But when Dr. Shana, our beloved visionary and our hashtag story snatcher, Crystal Cunningham, when they were taking us through the process of writing, I could not get the story out. And I wanted to, when they did the call for authors, I wanted to share my story of being sexually molested as a 12-year-old girl. But I couldn't get it out. I could not put the words, the pain on paper. So in my healing journey, I've had to see a therapist, or I am seeing a therapist. And so the stories came out as they should have. God had his way was the right way as I am on my healing journey, because I had to get to the root of the pain. And that was the sugar. Sugar became my savior to help me deal with the molestation. And then, of course, since I was addicted to sugar, I needed money, right? I needed money to fix the problem, or to pay for the addiction. And so that was for the love of money. And then again, as I've been going through this journey, when I started writing for the love of brokenness, I was able to get it out. But I felt like I was back there as that 12-year-old girl, because I found myself having this dream, and I'm walking into the house of where, as they say, the scene of the crime. And I'm walking through, and I see the living room to my right, and straight ahead, there's the kitchen, and there's a cake on the counter. And I look, I quickly go and look in the freezer, because I can't have cake without ice cream, right? And so there's the ice cream there. And so I close the freezer, and I walk around. I'm in the family room, and then I'm in the master bedroom, and then I stop, because right through that door is where it happened. Again, I'm just excited with holy anticipation of the summer that I'm about to have, because I get to eat a home cooked meal, and I get to sleep in my own bed, because at my house, I have to share a bed with my siblings, with my sisters, and oftentimes with my grandmother. And again, I have to witness mom being beaten. I have to go through the pain and the shame of not having lights, and not having clothes, and not having gas, and running water, and all of these things that a young girl should not have to worry about. And so I'm happy. And then, I get dropped off by mom at my best friend's house, and we're playing, we're outside riding our bikes and playing jacks and just having a good old time. I'm eating cool cups and now laters. You know what the now laters was? Come on in here with the now laters. And so nightfall comes. I've had a home cooked meal, something that I rarely had. I'm able to take a hot shower. I'm able to, again, sleep in my own bed. And then as I close my eyes, to peace, because there's a peace that I didn't know. Remember, I never knew the weight until I felt the freedom. And so there's a peace. And then all of a sudden, I'm jarred out of my peace, out of the peacefulness of slumber, with something crawling up my leg. I'm thinking it's a rat or a roach, because, hey, I'm used to that at my house. But I find out it's my friend's older brother, who has molested me, who has taken away something, or who has taken my voice. And just like Chantal reminded us, what I've had to realize all of these years, and especially as I've written this book, this story, my signature story, For the Love of Brokenness, silence is not golden. And so I am now in a space as your destiny interventionist coach, to let you know, beloved, that it's time to take back your power. It is time to renew your joy. It is time to rebuild your confidence, your faith, and reclaim your voice.
Oh my goodness. Yes, indeed. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I need to go ahead and bring in Tracie. Those that have been listening, you just heard from the phenomenal, yes, author is Rochelle. Yeah, Rochelle, please, I done got all of these names and everything up here, but there you are. Rochelle Jacobs, yes, indeed, as she talked about For the Love of Brokenness. Oh my goodness. So, and you talked about the P's and things, women just not being transparent. We're not as you talked about, is having those experiences of, you having to go to the pawn shop, having to go to the check where you have to write the checks for
payday loans,
payday loans and
payday
cash
loans.
advances and all of that.
Them pink slips. We know what the pink slips is. You get the notice in the mail for something about to be cut off.
Yes,
because
indeed.
I chose sugar, over,
Well, at this time, listen, before we go to our next, I want to thank everyone for watching and tuning in. We are with the contributing authors of the current anthology book project, is that When Destiny Needs an Intervention, Volume 3. And yes, we have the visionary author herself in the green room. You all listen, we've been maneuvering just some things to get her in, and I certainly thank you for your patience and your understanding. But we have the phenomenal, yes, Dr. Shana D. Lewis. There she is.
Hello, ladies.
Hello, beloved queen.
Hello. How are you?
Yes, indeed, you are. There you are. Thank you so much. I am doing wonderful. Thank you for your patience and me working out that technical. But thank you so much, and congratulations again on reaching that #1 bestseller 3 times. The trilogy. Yes, indeed. Nobody but you could do something like this, and we honor you. I'm so thankful that you find value in what we do. Dr. Shana is the visionary author of this amazing book. And I just want to just share a little bit about who this wonderful woman is, and just brilliant at what she does. But she has a message to you all. And we have her, the website is, of course, When Destiny Needs an Intervention, Volume 3, VOL, volume3.com, and we'll have that in the chat. But she welcomes you. She says, welcome to When Destiny Needs an Intervention, Volume 3 Anthology, your safe space to explore, discover, laugh, cry, and bond with women all across the country through the power of vulnerability and storytelling. Come on and say hello to her. There's much more. I'll be getting to that shortly. But again, welcome to the platform. Welcome to Coffee Conversations again.
Thank you, Sandy. So good to see you again. We missed you at our live launch this time. You came last year. You were at Volume 2, so we missed you this time. But we've had an amazing time, and I'm so glad to see my Amazon best-selling Destiny Diamonds. Y'all are amazing and beautiful per usual. And our 6-figure anthologist, I'm gonna say our birth mother, she is here per usual, making sure her children is acting right. And listen, in my absence, I'm so glad. Sandy, I'm sure you have been entertained and you have been uplifted, as well as those of the viewers who are here. So glad that we've been invited back to be on your amazing show.
So much. You have spoken globally. Anthology books are not anything new to you. When we talk about when your destiny needs an intervention, take us to 1, 2, and then of course I do have 2 in my head. I got 2, y'all. I'm gonna get 3.
We gotta sing you 3.
I gotta get 3 now.
Yeah.
But come on. So where did the birthing? Talk about that. Bring us to.
the project itself was birthed really out of the pandemic, right? The pandemic birthed a whole lot of stuff. We were in a space where women were struggling, and I actually went live every day for the 90 days that we were, on the safe at home component of the pandemic. And so out of that, so many women were coming to me and asking for help. And I realized I couldn't help everybody. So I had to find a way to put us together. I put us in a group on Facebook. And what happened is women started sharing stories. And as they were sharing stories, I'm like, these are powerful. Have you ever thought about writing this in a book? And everyone was like, no, we don't know where to start. And so really God put on my heart that it was my job, it was my duty to make sure his daughters have a vessel, a venue, or a way to share these stories of triumph that he's brought them through. And so that's where one came from. And Spirit brought up 2 and 3, because I promise you, if it was up to me, we would have been done probably at 1. But he just kept coming back saying, no, we're not done. There's more. And I really thought we were done at 2. And it wasn't until the live launch when we was about to be done, he says, oh, there's a 3rd. I was like, oh, is that right?
Wow.
So, but I didn't get no more messages, Sandy. This one is done. We are finished. The final destination has landed, honey. And we have 10 more beautiful diamonds who are here sharing their stories of power. So I'm so proud of these ladies. They are phenomenal. And all 3 of the volumes are books of triumph. They are books of a spiritual journey. There are books and stories of women who have gone through something, and they are giving all the goods, right? They're telling the whole story, not part of it, but telling all of it, so they can help another sister along the way. So hopefully that answers your question. That's how we got here.
Yes, it does answer my question. Thank you so much. And so these group of women, so you have your layer 1, you have your layer 2. And now that you pretty much have, it's like a group of women that have you poured into, and that's one of your gifts and talents. Intervention. What are some of the things that women need to have an intervention of? And we're talking about their destiny. Yeah, you're on mute. And while you're doing that, Rochelle, if I can do this, we have a couple of others you've spoken, and I want you guys to jump into the Facebook page and come in the audience. I want to make room, and I apologize. Can I do that? Do you mind? Okay, so we're going to bring some up and then bring some. And if you'll go over into the Facebook page of Coffee Conversation, and I'll catch you there. I think Dr. Tammy is going to come in now. But yes, ma'am. And
just interventions of relationships, intervention of we've had stories around your work relationship where you choose to show up, how folks treat you on your job. We've had relationships with fathers, with husbands, with family members. We've had interventions in grief and loss. I mean, the intervention, anytime you find yourself headed in the wrong direction, you need to turn some stuff around, perhaps you need an intervention. And it can look like a lot of different things. But women have an opportunity when they can identify it, then you can do something about it, but not until then. So these books, these volumes of When Destiny's Intervention will highlight times when you may not even realize you needed an intervention. You read these stories, you're like, aha, I did need an intervention. I was going the wrong way, because these ladies are sharing with you their journey, and you can see yourself in every single one.
And I like that your point that you just made, that we can see ourselves. So what you're helping us in these I think that all of them will be able to see ourselves in one way or the other in someone's chapter. Yeah. Ladies, absolutely. would you all say that you came out of this different or better, or coming out of it? And Lady TL, I want you to get ready. And welcome, Dr. Tammy. Thank you for not giving up. It's just that we had to shift some folks and get some things around there. But thank you for your patience. TL, did you come out a lot? Are you different now than you were before you started the project?
Not only am I different, but I feel lighter. So like our Rochelle D Jacobs say, that you don't know the weight until you sense the freedom. So I've came out lighter.
Wow, that is so good. And Dr. Shana, when you see the ladies and the experience, the seeing them on screen and just watching back, as you said, Lady Crystal, she's like the midwife. She pushed you all, and she making sure that everybody is on their best behavior. I love being in y'all's presence. But whenever you see them after you've spent quality time with them, this is one of the things that is we often say in customer service is that we want our customers to have a great experience. And you as a coach, as a one who is a professional at what you do, how you been able to pull some things out of these women, and they're walking, yes, in their freedom. How do you feel?
It's surreal, right? Like
Yeah.
we as we were closing out our time together, it just weighed on me the thought of one yes can have an impact for generations to come, right? One person standing up, showing up, and it just became really overwhelming. The reality of my yes for what God placed upon my heart, that then created such amazing, was part of the journey of such amazing. It's 31 women in this whole anthology, and so just thinking about those lives that have been impacted, and then all of those that have read the stories that have been impacted. And so it's just, it's overwhelming to think about what that little old me, yes, has meant to, and what will continue to. I am humbled to have been used in such a way, and grateful that I was chosen to do so. So
yeah, you've made a major impact in women's lives, and I believe that they trusted you with these valuable this pain that they were carrying. And even those one-on-one sessions, it's women like you that we need. And many of us, we may be in these positions but we're still dealing with some stuff, and I thank God for you. Those of you that are tuning in, yes, we have these fabulous women. This book is part of a trilogy, When Destiny Needs an Intervention. We have the phenomenal, yes, Dr. Shana D. Lewis, and the six-figure anthology strategist with us, yes, that has brought along this journey and this trilogy and this book of 31 women to be courageous and have the courage to share their stories. Why? And as I tell you, is that you just might be looking for a good book to read. But this one here, you probably want to read it and read it and read it and read it again. Each of the ladies have been sharing just a snippet of their contribution to this anthology. And what we're going to do is just kind of pick up where we are. And then, ladies, if you will join us once you have spoken, I'd like for you to join us in the feed on the Facebook page of Coffee Conversation with Sandy and Friends. Come on, TL, I'm going to start with you. First of all, before I do that, Lady Tammy, hi, how are you? Come on, say hi. Come on, Dr. Tammy, say hi to us, if you will.
How are you guys doing? See, that's just like me trying to avoid the conversation.
Yes, you are. Yes, Dr. Tammy Allen Brown. She is an action life coach. And so go ahead, introduce yourself, and then we're going to let TL go ahead, if you will.
Okay. Dr. Tammy Allen Brown, action life coach, and my story was the conversation. Do you want me to get into explaining? I'm not sure where we are right now. Kind of
Introduction first, and then I'll come back around.
Okay, thank you. That's
okay. All right, very good. So if we will, TL, come on and tell us who you are and tell us your title of your chapter and give us a snippet of it.
So thank you, everyone. My name is TL James, and I'm a business therapist. And so I run accountability groups, establish and run accountability groups. And in working with that, you have to make sure that you're very organized and put together and have everything in the right place, which the title of my story is Getting Clear of the Clutter. And what my story is about is, as a little child and growing up as a Black child, you're supposed to be seen and not heard. And you're supposed to wholeheartedly follow, would just blindly follow your elders. in whatever they're saying and whatever they're doing, even if there's something in your heart that says this is not right. And so I had to learn through all of that, just, I don't want to call it the beat down of this is what you need to do, and this is where you need to go, and this is how you need to live, and this is what your next steps are, and you can't go left. You need to always go right, and just kind of clearing all of that out and cultivating my own voice, because God gave me a voice. He gave me a purpose. He gave me a vision. And I had to learn that, because that's one thing that they really don't teach us girls, to kind of learn and understand your voice. And so as I'm going through life and I'm respectfully kind of studying other voices out, trying to learn and cultivate my voice, I went through therapy. You still have clutter, which is those residual things. I call it like little dust bunnies. And those dust bunnies always want to pop up and really just show how cluttered your life is when you're on that next level of leveling up, getting that new job, completing college, even getting pregnant and having a baby, regardless if you were married or not. That is supposed to be celebrated. And all of this clutter, because that's kind of where my story starts and begins, is when I found out that I was pregnant. I followed what my parents told me to do about getting married. I got married. I had 3 miscarriages, and I got divorced. And then I got pregnant. But I did it in order. The divorce, you're never supposed to put that in a path, right? But with that being said, I had to get clear of the clutter so I can celebrate the gifts that were coming in my life. I was, celebrating my son, celebrating graduating, just celebrating a new part of my life. And what I've noticed in my life is every time something levels up, the dust bunnies come. And so my story is just one of those, the dust bunnies are there, even with the therapy that you go through, but how to recognize and acknowledge those dust bunnies and clutter. And so that's what my story is about.
In the screen, Rochelle says declutter is a game changer of mind and body. Yes, indeed.
Yes.
I see that.
She actually said that in an interview this week when we were on the stage, and I was like, oh wow, but everything was such a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you just kind of calm down and you can just kind of hear people. But she said that multiple times, of mind, body, and spirit, that it is a trinity. And you can't clear one unless you get the other two.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you so much for your contribution. We will hear a little bit more from you a little bit later. I'm going to bring you off, and we are going to bring in, Lady Patricia Berry-Jones, if you will, Queen of People Pleaser. Come on, lady, if you will. Say hi to us. I got the wrong thing. Here we go.
Oh, hi.
Forgive me.
Hi. I am Patricia.
There you are.
Yes, here I am. Hi, I am Patricia Berry-Jones, and the name of my story is Queen of People Pleasers. As you can see, I am the queen right now. I'm wearing my crown, and my story really started in volume 2. The Pimp Life Ain't Easy. Volume 2 and volume 3 are all about codependence. So I started the story in volume 2, and I kind of finished it. It continues on in volume 3, coming to an end. And in volume 3, being the Queen of People Pleaser, is seeking approval and validation and love from everybody but from within. And not giving a thought that God had already put the stamp of approval on me way before I was even thought of and born. And when I was in my mother's womb, he had already approved me. I did not realize that, and I'm seeking it from everywhere else and focusing on trying to control everybody but myself. And we as women, we are very codependent, but we don't call it that. We're just calling it, I got to control this, I got to control that. And this is the way it is. Women are supposed to be doing all of this and not focusing on ourselves and constantly wanting to seek love in all places rather than seeking it and finding it within yourself. First, we have to love ourselves. And so the Queen of People Pleaser talks about that. And also, you don't have to be of any age to get off the bandwagon of the craziness of being a people pleaser. You can stop that at any age. It is not about the age, it's the mindset. When you realize that you're constantly running behind something that isn't really real, then you realize something is wrong. I need to figure out what is going on because I'm very unhappy. I'm depressed. I'm overwhelmed. And the more I do things, the less happiness. It doesn't please me. But I'm constantly trying to go over here and get this from over here, even on our jobs. As in my story, I mentioned being a people pleaser at work and wanting my supervisor to approve of me, approve of my work. I don't care how well I did it, it was never good enough. And so I'm still trying to get her to approve of me and be so pleased to say, oh, Miss Berry-Jones, what a wonderful job. But I didn't get that, but I still sought after that. And so tonight I am taking off the crown of being the queen of people pleaser. I am no longer the queen of people pleaser. Actually, I'm the queen of confidence and self-assurance. So that
Lady Crystal, I gotta bring you in. I gotta bring you back in. Oh my!
I really would recommend that you get the book. Read my story. Is how I overcame being a people pleaser, and how I can help you to accomplish it and take your crown off. You might be wearing an invisible crown, but ladies, let me tell you, you are wearing a crown of codependence. Thank you, Sandy.
Come on, Dr. Tammy, because I'm speechless now. I'm lost for words because you took us to a place that I thought the crown was really like there. I don't know. Yeah. But then when she said, I'm taking the crown off of being the people pleaser, that was basically what we call a drop of the mic or the mic dropping the whole night. I'm like, she better go ahead. Thank you, Lady Tammy. Dr. Tammy.
All right. Well, my story is the conversation. And it all started when I was a very young and energetic, could do anything young teacher. In fact, I just had a daughter and we had gone on an obstacle course for my previous job. And I'm climbing telephone poles and jumping off the telephone pole, trying to grasp the bar. So that's just how much I thought I could do anything, right? So as I'm continuing in education, I met a guy that came and talked to us initially about, being a new teacher and things you need to know. And we developed a great friendship. So he continued to check on me throughout the years. But throughout the years in the education system, I ran into so many challenges, a lot of different issues that came about that just kind of beat you down over the years. Getting the pink slip, having a principal that bullied me, having to apply for jobs that you're qualified for and do really well at, but your age is kind of a issue. They're looking for the younger kids, right? Losing a best friend, losing my father, so a divorce, remarriage, so all of these things that women just like myself go through over and over again. And in my practice, I'm a LPC, and in my practice, I realized that every woman around my age that came and talked to me, I'm like, we're just alike. We have the same issue. We're disappearing. We're just fading in the background of our families, being that mom, being that taxi cab, being that cook, just doing what we do as mothers. And going through all of this and finally meeting up with my friend again, I retired actually, and I told everybody I'm going into my inspirement. I'm going to do everything I said I wanted to do, all those amazing things I've been telling you about, all this great stuff. But I never could get there. I never moved forward. And I was faced with my good friend again, and he asked me, well, what's the issue? Why can't you move forward? What's the matter? This is great stuff, Tammy. You're great. I've been knowing you back in the day when you were this young, energetic, shining young lady or whatever. What's the issue? What's the problem? Don't let it be about money. You need to do this thing. But anyway, he encouraged me and even offered to pay for me to get some assistance, some guidance, a life coach or something. And at that point, I was like, man, he's willing to help me, invest in me or whatever. Am I that pitiful? So I had to just look at myself. That was eye-opening. It was eye-opening. And God is good. He's been with this from every step of the way. I mean, every situation just flowed so smoothly. So I was looking for something. I was looking for something to help me. I even looked into the life coach. I went to my cousin who's always been there for me and helped me through, but nothing quite worked out. But for God, he connected me to a friend that connected me to Shana to look into this opportunity. And it's all about connecting. It's all about being in the right situation at the right time with the right people to provide you what you need. Shana, just amazing. You look at her. I sent all my clients to Facebook. I said, follow her. She's going to motivate you, give you everything you need. And here I am, not even taking care of me. Amazing. Then I get Crystal that just push you along, just make you feel like your cousin that got your back. She your girl, you can depend on her. You can, be comfortable in this space. So like I always tell, that I ended my story with telling people to get what you need, connect to what's going to get you from A to Z. Everybody needs someone. We all need connection. We need a platform to be comfortable and guidance. I was speaking to someone today about some things that they wanted to do, but just didn't have the proper guidance to get there. And I tell you, this anthology has changed my entire perspective. It has changed. I mean, I have gotten text messages. I've gotten phone calls from friends that are telling me, I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. You acted like you were back in college, back in high school, back when I knew you back in the day. And I'm like, oh, I'm getting my life back. Yes. So that's it in a nutshell.
Well, I think we've lost Sandy, Dr. Tammy Allen Brown. You done blew her away, girl. These values is a lot up in here, Sandy. I know they didn't put you out your own show.
I know, right? And what happened, this is what happened, Dr. Shana. I got caught up into what her last statement was, is that you feel, tell me that one more time. You said you feel alive now?
Oh, yes.
What did you say?
Rejuvenated, alive. I got my old self back.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. All right. So again, powerful. You all, we are visionary, and I want to bring in Crystal and other ladies. We still have Mona Lisa that's going to be speaking, and I think that pretty much wrap it up. But then a lot of them have gone over to the Facebook. Oh yeah, Tracie. No, Tracie, you'll be next, and then Mona Lisa. But when I hear words and I hear things like this is a conversation, y'all. They're releasing the book. I want y'all to buy the book, and we're going to show all of that. But Dr. Shana, for women to walk away, that's powerful. That's legacy. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this long enough, and I've had to be in your presence and Crystal's presence. That's what it's all about out here. We can put books out all day, and so now y'all know, yeah, I'm now in my zone. We can do books all day, but when it don't bring some life-changing alterations, I call it making room for positive transformation. Come on, Dr. Shana, tell us how important it is for us to write a story, and Crystal as well.
Absolutely. I just believe there is power in our story. One of the questions in the documentary that I've asked every woman in every volume
Yeah.
is, what does it mean for you to understand or hear the statement that my story is about me, but it's not for me? And really, that statement is very powerful, because what I understand, because all of the women in this trilogy are God-fearing women, they are believers, and we understand that when God delivers us for something, He didn't just do it for us. He did it so that it becomes a testimony where you can tell and comfort somebody else that's going through it right now.
Yeah.
The scripture will teach us that. And so we need to be in a position of not what I call being disrespectful.
Yeah.
And sitting on that which He has delivered us from. Because as Rochelle would say, your story really becomes another woman's survival guide. She needed to hear that you went through it too. She needed to hear that you got through it and God did it for you.
Yeah.
Then she'll know that God will do it for her. So that is why we must tell our stories. As embarrassing as we might feel, as painful as it might be, I just say, find yourself in a space, in a place where you are in a safe environment to share, and that there is some nourishment that will occur. And that's what this space was. When I tell you, this sisterhood is real, saying like we ain't playing. Like it's just, we sisters for real. We Destiny Diamonds. We diamonds for life. We 4 flat tires down. Like that's what we are.
Yeah.
31 women deep. And it is, and it's an anomaly. I'm gonna say that, because you know how women, we can't get along longer than 5 minutes sometimes.
Right.
But when God has put this group together, we're gonna be just fine. And that's how I know this is ordained, because I always ask at the beginning of the volumes, Lord, I don't know who needs to be here. I don't know whose story needs to be heard. And I just ask Him to bring those forth that need to be in this space. And that is what He's done. So, and I told them the other night, I said, y'all understand there was other women who applied to be in this book, but they're not here.
Yeah.
Y'all know that. They was like, oh, you didn't know that. Just because you wanted and raised your hand did not mean this was for you.
That's
did not mean that you got that, that the answer was yes. It didn't mean that. And so I understand that God was very intentional about who He placed in this space and upon my heart to say, yes, we love for you to be here. So yeah, our stories are about us, but they are not for us. We got to help our sisters as we heal.
Absolutely, because there's so many. We've had the depiction is that we can't get along for so many years, so many generations. Auntie didn't get along with this auntie, and then you little girl, and you hear that, and you be looking at auntie sideways and wondering, okay, well that's why. But then it's layers that Lady Crystal, and I'm gonna call you Dr. Crystal. Come on. You did some cutting away in layers. There's so much layering in our writing as an anthology strategist, doing what you do. What are some of the things that writers have to go through to get to the real story?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, there is layers to it. It's nothing that is done like instantly. And like I tell them all the time, that really your story is a seed. So it's buried deep down on the inside. And what I have to do is just basically help you clear the dirt so you can come up and you can see what God has put in you. You know, that story, that moment is not to embarrass you, not to put you any shame on your name or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it is there to serve you. And like the word says, that it's to multiply you. So it takes a lot of work, because one of the first thing I do is when they get with me, we connect, is the first phase in my process is getting clear. So the getting clear is getting clear of who you are, what you're getting ready to do, locating that signature story, knowing who your story is for, and now crafting and bringing forth that story, bringing forth that specific instance. It's not just your whole story, because a lot of people get trapped in, we want to tell their story, so they're thinking they're going to tell their whole life story.
Right.
What me and the Holy Spirit I'm partnering with the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And he will whisper to me, letting me know what story, what instance that he wants to bring forth. Because one of the things I want to say about the stories that we are sharing, they are extension of the Bibles. That's what I like to say. That's what I was told, that our stories are really extensions of the Bible. It's funny. I read something again today, how they were saying that, not too long, ladies, if you haven't heard this, that they are going to try to do away with the Bible. And this is why you're hearing more people today trying to write their stories. Why? Because God is making it so that our stories are the extension of the Bible. We are living testimonials of God's goodness and his mercy and his grace. So, we don't want to sit on them. You do not want to do that. Why? Because that is, first of all, being disobedient, but it doesn't bring God any glory, and it doesn't help anyone. Your story is not here to, as I say, it's not a curse. It's actually a blessing.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, that moment is where you want to walk with your head up high, because when you really look at that brokenness, as Rochelle said, I love that her title is called Out of Brokenness. In the brokenness, there is beauty. And what I help them do is extract the beauty that came out of that broken moment. I help them locate those beautiful things that came out of it, discovering, like Tammy saying, now that she's writing her story and she's really looking at it, she's going back to look and see, you know what, I was a dreamer. There were things that I wanted to do. I won't tell Tracie stuff yet, but and Leontine, talking about learning how to manage your money, learning how to come out of these toxic relationships. There was beauty in it. These are beautiful things that we discover about ourselves, but we just have to go through that moment. That's all it is. It's just a moment. God is not bringing any shame to our name. He promised us that. And if you need to remind yourself, read Isaiah 61. He said, I'll give you beauty for the ashes. Just know that, our stories are beautiful, especially when we own it. And I teach women how to own the story and own it with pride, not to be prideful, but own it. Say, yes, I did go through that, but look at me now. Look at Tracie. Look at the queen. She took off her crown. Thank you, Lord. She's no longer the people pleaser. Here it is. So, these are beautiful things that comes out of these stories and those moments.
Thank you so much for saying that, because many people are just sitting on their stories. Many women, men and women, we're seeing more and more men in the literary world. It seems they've been always there, but they're beginning to take courage and share those vulnerable experiences that they've shared. Then your story changes. It takes flight. You're no longer the victim, but you're walking in victory. You're no longer walking in bounds. You're not writing as being, shut up, but you're writing with courage and victory. And so that's the beauty also of being a writer. At this time, we thank you so much, y'all hanging out with us. This is so much value. We may need to do a part two. Crystal and Dr. Shana, I would love to y'all come back. But we're going to go ahead. Did I say Tracie and then Mona Lisa? I think, and then Leontine, you will be our last one, I think. Yes. So Tracie and then Mona Lisa.
Hey, ladies. Thank you so much again, Sandy.
Thank you for your patience.
So my story is one that I didn't want to tell. I signed up to tell a different story. And as has been stated several times, Crystal, the story snatcher, snatched the story out of me that I ain't had no intention of telling. And this, I was ashamed of it. I was ashamed to admit the treatment that I had allowed in my life, in what were supposed to be loving, romantic relationships, to allow myself to be mistreated, to be used, to be feeling unloved, even though I knew I was giving all of my love. I was ashamed of that. So in this process of this anthology, I was able to release that story. And in doing that, I now have freedom. It's been talked about tonight about being free. Because I was bound, I was locked up. And so in many ways, the title Coming Out, it's about coming out from the darkness, because I was hidden in these relationships. Because whatever guy I was with him 110%. If he had a goal, it was my goal. I was supporting him, I was encouraging, and I was giving all of my time and my talent to fulfill his purpose, his goals. And I was always losing sight of who I was and what my purpose and my goals were. So in that moment that I share in the book, it was a moment of heartbreak. It was a moment of feeling hopeless and God stepping in and giving me his love and his comfort in the midst of my heartbreak, because he didn't come home again. And you heard me say again, allowing myself to be in relationships where I was giving everything, being fully committed, to not be receiving that in return, to being told that I was too much, or being told that I was not enough, all at the same time by the same person. You're too much, you're not enough. It destroyed my self-esteem. It destroyed my confidence in myself. And in that moment, as I was sitting in the middle of my closet, just with tears streaming, I heard God say to me, let go. You got to let it go. I didn't want to. I was holding on real tight. But I had to let it go. And in that process of letting it go, I was taking accountability for my life. I was embracing who Tracie is, who Tracie was destined to be. And in that process of healing and bringing myself out of that darkness, I learned something. I learned something very, very important. And ladies, listen up. Never allow trying to hold on to a piece of a man destroy your peace. A piece of a man is not worth your peace of mind. Never. And that's the lesson I learned as I came out of the darkness.
Thank you so much. And yes, I was trying to bring everybody up here. Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. And she says, coming out. I love it. I love it. The next person that we're going to have in Crystal is, let me know. Yes. Lady Mona Lisa, if you will, come on. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for hanging out with us. And those of you that are tuning in, I need you to go back and listen to the replay. If you are joining us on the replay, thank you so much. We are with the #1 best-selling authors of the volume 3 of When Destiny Needs an Intervention. At this time, you will be hearing from our next author, Mona Lisa.
Hi, Sandy, ladies. Thank you for
your
having me.
patience.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Well, my story is Grief to Grace. Is really a deep spiritual written poetry for me. It's a lot more that needs to be written. I'm one of those young ladies that grew up as that little girl, and through her life that experienced all of the things that all of the diamonds have spoke about in their stories. I went through all of that as a child, being molested. I'm a service disabled veteran. I'm a mom. I've been through I have PTSD. Limited beliefs, the family situation growing up and living through those limited beliefs. also having like a mixed family where I got a lot of encouragement from my dad that would teach me so many things outside of the basic limited beliefs that the majority of my family had. And I grew and always knew I had that spiritual sense of spirituality on my life. And I lived it just that way until it got to a point where it was too much. At the height of COVID, God stepped in. It happened. It was warfare that started. I went through a warfare through narcissism, through the death of one of my children. Got to a point, I lost everything. It took me to lose everything. In addition to fighting for my life with my health situation, I had nothing. It was over. Then there was no one there. I knew so many people. You know, Satan was sitting right there waiting. And I chose God. I chose God. Am I back on? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, but we lost you in camera.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can just keep talking.
I found myself in a space like a foreign land. And there was no one there, but I can see everything, I can feel, and I can hear God's whispering to me, Lisa, if you allow me, I'm going to show you something. For everything that I had done in my life, all of the accomplishments, to get to a point of having this, what it seemed to be a perfect family, and it looked really perfect. I mean, diamonds and pearls, gated community, just everything. It all got taken away. And God said, I'm going to show you something. I'm a very loving person. I even felt like I didn't think I would ever be able to feel love again. Never. Getting into this anthology was not my idea. I was so exhausted from everything that I had gone through. I just wanted to go to a beach, I told God, and build sandcastles for the rest of my life. That's all I want. I'm done. I don't want to participate in anything else. And God put me in a situation during that period. I would say the footsteps in the sand. I ended up in a space, living in a place that was absolutely beautiful, living right in front of a lake in an apartment. It's only a year, but it was all I needed. From that point, God said, it's time to move. And when it happened, coming to Houston, Texas, where I am now, it was not my choice. I actually wanted to go back to North Carolina. And somehow or another, I ended up here. And one thing led to another. Met Miss Patricia Berry. God just used a lot of these situations to move me where I was destined to be.
It's kind of like he connected the dots.
Yes.
Together.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I ended up here. Met Miss Patricia Berry. You know, again, we're veterans, and we went on a mission to work with the TAPS program for the Good Grief Camp. And I was invited to come to an event that Dr. Shana was hosting. And I went from there. I was invited. Thank you, Dr. Shana, for trusting me and allowing me, because I was still a mess. I had no intentions on doing this. I had at some point become a stay-at-home mom for the past 26 years. And so I'm just kind of really disconnected from a lot of things that others have done with the 9-to-5 job. And at this point now, it's just me. There's nobody around. I'm writing in this anthology. I said, okay, Lord, I told God, you know, because I'm in here with nothing. I said, just use me. I've been used all my life. Just use me for whatever your purpose. I'm a philanthropist, not with the money. I give my service. I'm a service person. And I said, okay, this will give me something to do. And I never dreamed that it would be all that it has been. the feelings I have of being renewed with love and feeling cared and loved for by these women.
Wow.
I was done with love. I was done with I just wanted to go
even
build
in the
something else.
sisterhood. So y'all, this is where I'm interjecting. So even with the sisterhood, even with another female, just to have coffee, just to have a relationship, you know, you are speaking for so many women.
Yes, ma'am.
And so to see you now, what would you say to her?
I would say you can change from being bitter to better. I would tell her that you can be transformed. You can let go of limited beliefs and understand your purpose for life, you know, through the Spirit of God. God led me here and showed so much. Everything was ordained through, I want to say, the Holy Spirit with me being here, grief to grace. And I have that grace. And I want to show women that they can show their grace also, because they have it. We're all born with that. We're all spirits, and you have that chance to do it. Let me help you. I can help you transform. I've been through the experience. And I'm so at peace right now. And I'm so grateful for everything, for breath, to see these beautiful diamonds. Everywhere I go, I see diamonds. I see diamonds everywhere. Yes. So
Oh my goodness.
I'm grateful.
You, as you were talking, all of the ladies, and we know the backdrop experience, that experience of sitting in the studio. As I said, we've seen the Diana Rosses on the screen. We've seen all the beautiful women. And so to have this is kind of like going over the top, and over the top when it's necessary.
Yes.
I want to say with you, because when you saw yourself, because your statement was, I'll just do it. Not knowing what the results of you just doing it. There's two things. You took courage, but you got more than just doing it.
I did. I have so much more. When it all came back, I realized my purpose. I'm here and I have that peace. My peace comes from me serving. And now I'm in this space where I'm able to do it. I never dreamed that I would be here doing this. And to see myself on that big screen, I just felt like I couldn't breathe. Just like, this is not real. I'm like, we're really here. And just the gratitude to be there, you know, is just phenomenal.
And I think that's the sentiments and the words that each of you are saying. I want to go ahead and go to Leontine, and she's talking about managing my money. On the record, we're going to get together. I want you all to come back again. I want to give these ladies just time. This needs to be unpacked, and I don't feel I'm saying it on y'all know my audience and all that. I haven't served them well tonight. I've done it well, but we're going to, I want you to hear their stories. We want to put this book in your hand. These ladies have found courage. They've found a new life in what they've done. And God has given them the courage to pen it on paper. We want to put this book in your hands. So look for the part 2. But come on, Leontine, and just say hello to us. Share it with us, your title. And come on.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Sandy, and to Dr. Shana, and to Miss Crystal. I just want to say thank you all for this opportunity. My name's Leontine Synor, and the chapter in the book is Mismanaging My Money. Long story short, I struggle with managing money. I grew up with, I wouldn't say poor, because I think poor people don't have basic necessities. But what I will say is that we grew up financially challenged. And so I did not have a financial foundation to start with. And what I observed, and then having lack of resources, caused me to make poor decisions growing up and into my adulthood as it related to money. And so what I did know is that I felt uncomfortable, and it was kind of like a noose around my neck that would get tight sometimes, and then it would loosen up, and then it would get tight again, and it would loosen up. But at the point that I bounced the check for my offering, which you'll find when you read the book, that was my pivotal point that I needed to make a change in how I dealt with money. What I know is that we are marketed to spend money. We're not marketed to save money. And as people of color, I don't think that in our homes we're taught the right way to spend money because we've been without for so long that we work so hard to get things. We don't talk about the sacrifices that we make, nor do we talk about the inappropriate ways that we use money in order to get those things. You know, the overspending at Christmas, the as Rochelle pointed out, the payday loan places, and you know, we floated checks until technology came into place, and you couldn't get the check to the bank before they posted it. So getting the checks where they bounced and things like that. So you hear commercials that say buy here, pay here, no credit, bad credit, come get it. And those are not positive reinforcements of how to use money. My story talks about how I misused the money and how one day I sat and God spoke to me about how I could redeem myself. And so from that, I got to a point where I went from broke to bank. And I tell people that, hey, you don't need to have name brand everything if you can't afford name brand everything. I'm not against having things, but if it's going to cost you, then you need to determine whether or not what the cost benefit of having those things are.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see, who else do I have here? Dr. Shana, I want to just share the screen here. Let these phenomenal audience and these ladies listen. You all are just, I'm so grateful to have you all here. And we're going to bring your screen up again. I want to bring up the website here.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah. There we go. So you see all of these beautiful women, and it is always our custom to yield back and allow you to give us, share your heartbeat about this. This was it. This is the fight as you gave it. You said God didn't speak to you about another one, that this is the finale. This is it. How are you feeling now? I know it's going to take a minute. I saw your earlier post and I said, wow, to be a visionary and then to see your vision. And Crystal, are you on? I'm behind the scene right now. Is she with us? Yeah, there she is.
Here.
So for both of you, you all have had, there's Crystal. I want to bring up her website. You all, there's Crystal. How stunning she is. Absolutely. Go to her website. But as she says, helping visionary authors crystallize their vision and publish 6-figure best-selling anthologies. Turn your message into a movement and impact millions. And Dr. Shana, as I said, you're seeing these women that are with you tonight, and the women that are behind the scenes, they cheer each other on. You've now birthed it. You've got triplets here.
Hey, lots of babies.
Lots of them, lots of women. And I can't imagine how you feel when you see it. We just want to hear your heart right now.
Well, so what I want to start with though is none of this. And when I say none of it, I mean not any of it would not have been possible without Crystal Cunningham. I understand that God gave me the vision, but he can give me the vision and give somebody else the hands and the plan. Okay.
Right.
And at the point when I answered the call, I didn't know what I was answering to, Sandy. Yeah. I'm like, okay, I ain't never done that before. I don't know how to do that. I'm like, where we start? I don't have no answers. And when I went out and I asked these women the first set, they just did it. And all of them I knew. None of them were strangers to me. So they trusted the God in me enough to know that I wasn't going to lead them astray. So they showed up on that. But I didn't know what I was doing at all. And then when God brought Crystal into my life, I'm forever indebted and grateful to her because what you see that has occurred single-handedly she created. So he gave me the vision, but he told me to give it to her.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
He told me to give it to her. And I told her when she was here, I said, I never not trusted you. I never doubted you. When Crystal said, we ain't doing that, we ain't doing it. If Crystal said, we going, oh, we're going. Crystal said, y'all better stop. Oh, I bet you better stop. There was no question. It was never a question, whatever was said, because I understand who her leader is as well, too. So you got to understand God and the folks you're dealing with as well.
Yes.
That they have a belief that is aligned and equally yoked in the sense of we believe in the same God in this way. So it's my vision, but he told me to give it away. And I'm glad that he did, because it wasn't for me to execute. It wasn't. It wasn't. And I think as women, sometimes we feel possessive over things, and we feel like, oh, well, no, that's mine, and it has to be my way, and all of these things. But just because he gave it to you, sis, doesn't mean it was for you to execute.
Yeah.
You might have been the initial, vessel, but he will put provision in your way if you take it to then create to fruition the thing that which he put inside of you. And so I'm just forever grateful. So there is no When Destiny Needs an Intervention, Volume 1, 2, or 3. If you don't mention Crystal Cunningham, it just didn't happen. That ain't the story we telling. So we said we're gonna tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That's truth. And so one of the things that, Sandy, warms my heart is that there's this growth journey that we've been on from 1, 2 to 3. And we had a brunch at the end of our finale weekend, and we really got to see the journey, like in pictures, we could see the journey of what occurred and how God continued to give the increase over and over and over again. And it's just beautiful. It is beautiful. And it is a testimony to who he is and how he will choose to use us as footmen right here on this planet to give him glory. Because when you see all of this, it's God all over all of us, all of us. And that is how we got to this place. That is how we are Amazon bestsellers, not once, not
two.
Somebody say 3 times.
Oh, come on.
3 times. We can. I mean, it is phenomenal. And the number, and we haven't even calculated the number of books that have been sold, Chris. We got to do the math on the books from Volume 1, 2, and we talking about thousands of books that have been sold. And we understand that anthologies ain't all equally yoked. I'm just saying, because they ain't all doing the things that are current in this space. It's not happening like that. And these women are speaking, Sandy, they are speakers, they are coaches, they are now entrepreneurs, they have birthed businesses, they have shifted and pivoted from things that they were doing before in other places. And I just feel, I'm like a proud mama, like over here, look at all of these children. They just doing amazing. I'm just honored to have been chosen to be on the journey with them. It is an honor and a privilege. And I honor every single woman from Volume 1, 2, and 3. I honor all of them. I celebrate them. I see them, and I honor them. And it's just a great space of gratitude. But I just had to say, like, we don't even have this conversation if we don't have a Crystal Cunningham with crystal clear communications and them Thursday nights, Eastern Standard Time. That my lady. And here's the thing. So because Crystal is so great at doing, that's Volume 2 right here.
This is 2.
That is 2. Yeah. That is 2. And that was at the documentary of Volume 2, and we were taking photos. I mean, we've had a great time. We've had so much fun. We've created some real memories, Sandy.
Yes.
Real memories.
And women that I'm telling you, the caliber of women that says that am I on mute?
No, ma'am, we hear you loud and clear.
So my point is that it was no matter what, they are leaders of leaders, but yet they trusted you.
Yes.
That okay, I can take my cape off here.
Yes.
You know, I can
Yes.
take my cape off. I don't have to be holding
Yes.
one of the authors from volume that really impressed me. She is a franchise of McDonald's.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and then we have Lady Cynthia, who's went through a medical,
Yep.
I mean, just totally on her body, walking through the journey of cancer.
Yep.
Then and then that's just two that really stuck out with me. But these women and the women that have joined us tonight, you all took your capes off and you said, you know, I've got this and I need help with it. That's the way and you help us. And that's why this book is, I do this enough to where I know that this, when I talk about books needing to be in a woman's toolbox, this is one, y'all. Not just one, but you can't get just the one. You need to get all three. So yeah, it's like take the cape off. And we trust you. They've trusted you and Crystal. And you trusted Crystal, the God in Crystal, to take your vision and then bring it. And so, Lady Crystal, we honor you. Girl, you're doing it. In all respect, I'm telling you, is that I remember the 12 o'clock midnight. You all, she'd been in this for a long time. And Lady Crystal, yes, I just thank God for you. And thank you for bringing us around and bringing the circle. Forgive me, you all. We did have some that are, it's late in the hour. We're going to be getting together. I would love for you ladies to come back. We're going to use the Zoom because I can definitely have all of the ladies on my Zoom platform versus using the StreamYard. But listen, you have been, this is where y'all blessed me. Thank you so much. Each of the authors have, Lady Patricia, thank you so much for showing us that we don't have to walk around with the crown. There is a deliverance, the crown of people pleasing. If we're not, if we're not true to ourselves, there's a little bit of that in many of us. So thank you for showing us that there is an invisible crown on our heads. Thank you, Leontine, for sharing what you've shared on tonight of the mismanaging of money. Dr. Tammy, is there anything that's on your heart that you didn't get an opportunity to say to our audience? I feel like that there's something that you want to say. Yeah, you got your mute on. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. You got it?
There you go. Okay. I just wanted to emphasize that you don't have to wait to be worthy. And at 22 flipped and backwards, it's not too late to get this thing going. That's my 55.
Ooh, say that one more time.
Okay.
the flip part.
All right. At 22 flipped and backwards, it's not too late to get this thing going.
Wow. That's okay. That must be an inside, and I'll get it later. I'll go read the chapter. Rochelle, I feel like that, yeah, you come on and share your experience with these two ladies. You've been in 2 volumes. You've been on our show before, but I want to yield back, and you went in, you cheerlead, you're cheering everybody on. But you're not in the same place that you were last year, and now you've done volume 3, and you have this. You were in volume 1. Were you in volume 1? So you've been in all 3. Tell us, and then we're going to hear from Lady Crystal, and then we're going to be wrapping it up. But share with our audience how important it is for someone to know who this amazing Lady Crystal is. And they need to definitely seek her out.
Listen. Crystal Cunningham, you know, if when you leave her presence, you can't help but to be crystal clear on what it is that God has for your life. This experience, I mentioned at the launch that when Dr. Shana came out with the call for authors,
Yep.
And for Vol 1, I told her, I said, baby, I have 3 stories. I got one for my mind, my body, and my spirit. And so, of course, she hadn't heard from the spirit. She hadn't heard from God yet. But I knew deep down inside that he was going to talk to her because she is obedient to him.
Yeah.
And so this experience with Crystal and Dr. Shana has reaped transformation, inspiration, motivation, and honey child liberation. Being able to really, Crystal, especially with Crystal, has that was one of the things that we coined her was hashtag story snatcher.
Yes.
Because I remember in Vol 2 when I was trying to get For the Love of Money out in Houston, Texas, we have a freeway called the 16 Loop. And I took her around that loop and she was like, that's not it. So I had to quickly find my way back to the interstate and really own my story.
Yeah.
And just with one of our other, my turn-up twin, Karen George, the accused.
Yeah.
Crystal was able to choke that story out of her. And just by asking one question, okay, what was your part in it? And so, it's just amazing that she has the anointing. She has the power and the ability to really allow us to provide for us, the women, the beloved Destiny Diamonds, that space, that safe space.
Yeah.
To really be vulnerable with each other and really own not just our story, but our signature story that can impact the world.
Yes. Wow. At this time, I'm going to, bring on the 6-figure anthology strategist, Crystal Cunningham.
Oh, okay. So I had like a really powerful weekend with these women. So I'm not going to do what I did, okay, because I already did it and got it out. It is honestly, Sandy, because like Sandy said, many of you don't know, but me and her known each other since I started doing midnight ministry. And I know most of you on here don't even know me from there. But these was years ago when God put me in front of this camera on the internet in the middle of the night and started me ministering, telling my story and being open and transparent with the world and finding myself in the word, finding my story in the word. And I always said, I felt like me and Rahab could be related. I related to her. And to understand now how powerful, when I say powerful, I want you to hear it from the depth of my soul. How powerful, not our stories, but those experiences that we then make them into stories are. They're powerful because what we have had the ability to overcome, the courage to walk out of and change and make something of that situation. And when everybody else, and when I say not just, Eric, let me just say this, when everybody else was writing you off, and when the enemy had a trap for you and a plan to put you and keep you in the pit, our God was just waiting for our yes. And he said, if you just yield to me, I will do exactly like he did the day they was coming through the Red Sea. I will hold back everything to get you to the other side. And I will trample on your enemy and watch you and make you watch and see. And I will turn that moment into your victory. And I like to think of the 3 V's. He gave me back my vision.
He gave me back my voice. And today I know my vocation. I know my space in this earth, and I own it. And I help other women do it through actually the storytelling, through the anthology, through coming in and writing your signature story. When you really take the time out to put it on paper, you then will discover just how powerful you truly are. We are powerful. And that's why the enemy has set those traps for us at early ages, 6 and 5 and 12, and, even, in our teenage years, just try to stop us. But I want to say thank you to everyone, every woman that I have had the opportunity so far to be able to help them write their experience, discover their gifts. And I publicly say thank you to Dr. Shana, because it's funny, I came home and I read my card and we talked about that. Didn't know that we both was feeling the same thing. Like, oh my God, God gave her the vision, but, and I have this gift. And how can we, as two visionaries, as two leaders, come together and yield to each other, And I love that she said that, because that's one of the issues that as Black women, we do have that problem where we will not be submissive to one another because we so want to have this ownership, or that this, being this leader, and it doesn't take away your position. Matter of fact, it makes you more of a leader. If you really read the Bible, Jesus yielded. He said, the greatest among you must become the servant.
Yes.
Must become the servant. So when you yield, you are the greatest. And that's all I did. I yielded, and we worked together. I respect her. She respect me. What I appreciated, which you all don't know, a lot of this was discovering of what I had in me too.
Yeah.
When I see the marketing, I was telling her, the overwhelming on Saturday was the marketing, the designing that I did throughout the whole project, 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
From the websites you just put up, landing pages, everything.
Yeah.
Because God, he needed me to connect with her, because as I'm telling you, as you start sharing your story, it's your story. And you start moving it along and start connecting with the right people. Guess what's going to happen? They have what you need to start extracting that thing out of you. But what I love about this, the first one, this road right here,
yes,
along the way, as you are going, there will be somebody on that exit that will have what you need and will give you what you need, as well as you're giving them what they need. But you gotta keep going. But a lot of us was on the wrong path.
Yeah.
And we had to be turned around, as the message says, right, Dr. Shea? Had to be turned around and placed on the right path to discover what's in us. So I tell you tonight, I want you to own your experience. And I mean own it. I mean own it with power. Sit down and discover 10 things that came out of that moment. I tell a lady 5, but I know it's 10 up in you. Go get them and start talking about what came out of that moment, what came out of that divorce, what came out of mismanaging the money, what came out of the grief, what came out of that marriage, what came out of that addiction, what came out of it. Go find it and write it out and start telling the world about it. And that's how we give our God the glory. So I know it was a lot, but let me tell you, because I got a lot. And I just think my sister, she's my sister now. She's like my little big sister. Dr. Shane, sorry. That's why I met her. I was like, What she is, and,
Yeah.
and we have become family.
That's good.
That Christine Lemitri, she's on here. She did stuff well any old way. But yes, we are, and I am my sister's keeper. When I see them on the internet, in these internet streets, doing stuff that don't look right, I send them a quick message and help them along the way. I want somebody to do that for me. So I thank all of you for trusting me, to get you here and extract the beauty in your brokenness. That's what it is. It's beauty in that broken moment. And don't you forget it and own it.
Wow. Thank you so much. One of the unique things that, again, Dr. Shana and Crystal is the coming together. And when you're coming together, what you've been able to produce. And I just thank God. Thank the Lord. Lady Patricia, do you want to share anything about this beautiful lady up there in that red? How are you feeling now, seeing this come to pass?
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. The lady in the red, she is absolutely my favorite daughter. And she is magnificent. She truly, truly is. God gave her to me, and now he has given her to so many other ladies. And I don't mind sharing her. I really don't, because this is what God would have her to do. And I'm so thankful that she's so obedient to the Lord. And I'm glad that she listened to Crystal and yield to her. Like she said, Shana said it was her vision, but Crystal was the one to execute the vision, because she knew her lane. She stayed in her lane. And that is so important, to learn to stay in your lane. That's why with being a people pleaser, we want to get out of our lane because we want to control everything and everybody. Fix everybody, but fix ourselves. So I am just so grateful and thankful to my favorite daughter.
And she said her favorite daughter. And the reason why we do that, because we honor you. We honor you, and I know your daughter honors you. And we, you shared her with so many women, 31 women, 3 books. When Destiny Needs an Intervention. I am Sandy Sanders. I'm your host and creator of the Coffee Conversation and Book Talks with Sandy. We've had I didn't quite roll the red carpet out for you, but I'm just so thankful that you trust and find value in our platform. I want to thank Mona Lisa. Thank you so much for your story. And Dr. Tammy, thank you for your story. Thank you, Lady Patricia, Lady Rochelle D, Jacobs, and Leontine. Thank you so much. And we got so many others that came through, but meeting the authors is what you've done tonight. You've met the authors of this amazing, amazing book. And we want you to go to the website. Each of them you click on and it says meet the authors. If you click onto it, they have their landing pages. Click onto it and purchase your book. Purchase a couple of books. Get one for yourself and one for another female in your life, your daughter, your sister. And I promise you, after reading the book, your lives will never be the same. I am Sandy Sanders. Are there any last words, Dr. Shana? I always yield the mic and step back and allow the visionary author to have the last words.
There's only one question I have, Sandy. When does your destiny, and y'all better unmute and answer this question, when does your destiny need an intervention?
Right now. Right now. Well, you have heard it right now. When does your destiny need an intervention? You heard it from the phenomenal, yes, world global speaker, coach to many, 31 women, part of a trilogy of when your destiny needs an intervention. And they're saying right now. Thank you for tuning in. Share this out. And we look forward to a second interview of part 2. And we'll let you know when that's going to happen. I am Sandy Sanders. You all stay with me in the green room. And you guys know that I love you. All right. Take care. All right. And good night.